Good morning. It's Andy from Mountain Computers. Today is Thursday, October 17th, and it's going to be a great day. Whew. Oh, where's my notes? Where's my cup of coffee? I was just reading the news, just going through some YouTube stuff, and I was just, oh, by the way, I woke up this morning, went to check my credit card statements, and there was an $1,872 charge on my credit card statement that I didn't make. And that leads us to today's subject. Today's subject is the letter F, and those three topics in the letter F are going to be fraud, for computer fraud, Fortran 77, a programming language, which I loved back in the late 70s and 80s and 90s, and formulas and functions, which is mathematics, but you know, math isn't everything. So anyhow, got my coffee cup. It says laugh on it. I got 3 coffee cups: cherish, laugh, love, and no sponsors today. If I did say there was a sponsor, what would it be? Cisco. Cisco would be the sponsor if I had a sponsor, because I was working on some network security, continuing education, some stuff on that. Mind you, I used to manage quite a few internet service providers and a couple data centers, and in Phoenix, here in Reno, Northern Nevada, even up in Microsoft, you know, we had a couple offsite stuff going on there. So anyhow, this is Andy from Mountain Computers, the Go Green PC Tune-Up Guide. Today's letter is F, fraud, computer fraud, Fortran 77, formulas and functions. So let's talk about computer fraud. I've had clients, probably over 1,000 clients this year, who've called me, who said they've been hacked, they're being extorted by an email, they got to pay Bitcoin, some video of them doing something or other. It's all fake, scam. They don't have cameras on their computers. They don't have other methods or anything like that. I mean, there's 5 laws being broken when that email comes to you. First of all, it's invasion of privacy. 2 is extortion, blackmail. Interstate commerce is being violated. That's federal felonies. So all I can say is when it comes to computer fraud, I tell the people all the time, I don't care what you guys do in your own private life, but the important thing is invasion of privacy is the biggest one that stands out to me. So, you know, yeah, it makes you panic for a minute, because I have hundreds of email accounts for other clients that I see, and I see the thing go through them too, and I see it pop up in their spam, and I'm like, I go onto their accounts, their Exchange accounts, and it's pretty bad, you know, fraud. I was telling you earlier, I got dinged on my credit card, and it started over the weekend, but Capital One caught it. Capital One caught it and said, hey, 1872, does this look like you? And I said, nope. They're like, okay, thank you very much. If you feel like there's a problem, give us a call. Didn't have to. However, I didn't know the full details because it didn't come to me on what was going on until this morning. And I knew my balance was, you know, pretty small, and I was looking to pay it off, and it was twice as much. It was like, you know, over $4,000 and some dollars. So what I'm saying is, when it came to the fraud, I check my credit cards about once every 2 or 3 days, especially after major purchases. So where did the fraud come from? How did they get my credit card? And so it was a Sprint purchase. Sprint. And I have a Sprint account, but it was in Texas. That's where the first one came over the weekend. Then the second one, and that got stopped because I said no. But somehow or another, they did the same thing in Kansas 2 to 3 days later. So Texas to Kansas, same amount, but they changed the method and the type of transaction. That's strange. And so when I talked to the Capital One fraud department this morning, early, 6 a.m., I said, hey, that's weird. I wish I'd have seen that 2 days ago, because I would have called sooner. And the investigator immediately pulled up all the details, extracted all the information, and he said, oh, they were very tricky because they changed the method and the type of purchase from this to that. And he goes, that was pretty sophisticated. And he saw the first time it hit, It failed. They tried it again. It failed. And I was in Texas. They physically were in Texas. Then they went to Kansas. And in Kansas, it went through because it was the type of transaction. Like they bought a bunch of phones, iPhones. So, sorry about that, Sprint. Sorry about that, Apple iPhone people. But other types of frauds. You'll get it in your email, social engineering. Excuse me. One thing you have to watch out for, and I tell my clients all the time, when somebody calls you and says, "Is this so-and-so?" you don't say yes. Don't say yes. Because they'll record your yes and use it to verify your acceptance of a contract verbally over a phone for an online order or whatever. Like they say, "Is this so-and-so?" and you say yes. Well, they just say, "So-and-so?" Yes. They got it recorded. Like in this video, they'll extract that, but hopefully the AI for all of these credit card systems and all these purchases, opening up accounts, catches that. My credit cards are all over the place. I mean, in tons of vendor systems, auto pay systems, everything. How can we live in a cashless society, a global society, without that level of risk? Think about it. I mean, think about it. Because I told a guy at Capital One, and he was nice. His name was Greg, cool guy. I said, "Oh man, I got so many auto pays on this." And he goes, "Here, let me show you a little trick. You go into I want to, and then say view reoccurring merchants." Something like that. So I did, and it showed all my reoccurring merchants. And I was like, dang, you guys are good. That just saved me a whole bunch of lookups. And so that was cool. The other thing about fraud is one of my clients got a notice from the post office that his mail forwarding had been successfully completed. And he didn't do that. Some P.O. box in Las Vegas his mail was being routed to, and it had started a week prior. Lo and behold, he had LifeLock, and LifeLock didn't alert him that 5 new credit cards were opened in his name, and the cards were sent to that P.O. box in Las Vegas. And so when he went down here to the post office here in Reno, and said, this is wrong, this is not me, I didn't do it, they contacted the Las Vegas post office, stopped it, collected the mail, and sent it to him. There were 2 or 3 other people going to that same P.O. box with credit card applications already going on. So watch out for that. I mean, technically somebody can, initial or go online or do something on your behalf without your permission, and there's no 2-factor authentication, there's no multi-factor authentication. The FBI just came out this last week and said 2FA and MFA, that's all being circumvented with, of course, SIM jacking, your phone chips being replaced and socially engineered and swapped out to where the PIN that comes to you from an account verification, it's bypassing your phone and going to another phone. That's getting more prevalent. What else on computer fraud? I had a guy just yesterday called me, and he went to his one bank, and his password didn't work, so he requested a temporary password. He used that for a minute and then went to change it, and it didn't work again. So he did it 3 times in the matter of 45 minutes and called the bank and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And they were like, "Well, yeah." But they didn't look far enough. They didn't look at the IP addresses. They couldn't look up the source of what the traffic was. And either there was a man in the middle, and the website he was going to was a .org, not a .com for that bank. The .org was clearly a phishing site, and the .com was really the bank site. So he went to another bank to check, and the same thing happened all in a matter of an hour. So the problem is he's a smart guy too. I mean, he's one of my good friends and clients. And I said, "Wow." I said, Didn't you sense something after the first, second, third try that something might be going on?" Just like when they just got my Capital One for a Sprint purchase. I sensed something, but then I thought the system caught it, killed it, but I didn't replace my card because I didn't think it was necessary. Looking back, I could have called somebody, and that would have put them on alert, but the system should have stopped it because it was the same amount, 4 attempts, 2 failures, 1 tried, changed it, and then the 4th hit, all in a matter of 3-4 days on a holiday weekend. did somebody hack my email account at Yahoo to delete the notification of this purchase before I saw it? That's possible. I really think that. Did I change my password at Yahoo? Not yet, but I'm going to. But still, I have two-factor authentication on my Yahoo account. So all I can say is, well, unless they turn that off. So how many other people are going to get fraudulently hit? What else can be fraud? Do people look at your credit card, the name on your credit card when they make a purchase anymore? Because you normally just take your card and push it in the machine where the chip is and then take it out. In the old days, they'd look at your name to see if your name matched your ID. For big purchases, I think that's important, but for nickel and dime stuff. But nickel and dime stuff can add up really fast. So, fraud. What are the things about fraud? Mail fraud, credit card fraud. I don't know. I think the banks and the credit card companies who are now saying we're going to use LifeLock or some sort of credit card protection moving forward, that should have always been in place. You know, when we first started with credit cards and how much people think it's easier to steal than it is to work. That's what one person just told me. They said it's easier to steal and not get caught than it is to actually do work. I mean, if they took all their energy on how smart they were on stealing and put it to work, I don't know. We don't know. Overseas, stuff like that. If you're traveling abroad, let your credit card company know that you're traveling abroad and that you'll be making purchases in these areas so they don't stop your card and kill your access to your method of payments when you're overseas. But tell them when you're leaving, when you're going, what places you're going to be, so they can put that on account. So that's enough about computer fraud. If you have questions or anything like that, put those in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share, by the way. Fortran 77. That's a scientific programming language. I started doing it when I was a junior in high school up at the Southern Oregon State College. Bob McCoy was our professor. I think he did COBOL and Fortran 77. So, Fortran 77, great language. You should study it. Python, programming language, it's sort of like a scientific kind of, if you use NumPy, some of the libraries there for scientific stuff. Machine learning, AI, all those languages that are coming out now have some degree of scientific calculation, standard deviations, you name it. Which leads us to the third topic, because I don't need to talk about Fortran 77 anymore. Microsoft had a really nice compiler version of it back in the day when I was there working there. It was cool. But I'm not in the scientific fields anymore, so I'm not up on it. But if you need to know a language and you're in the scientific fields, Fortran 77 has one of the most amazing libraries and languages that you can use. Very powerful libraries. Even the Python libraries are pretty good. And they just found some library in, I think, Python, or was it NPM or something like that. Some NPM library, or was it a Python library, that they just found out had some calculation errors. And hundreds of studies have been using this library, and the outputs are invalid. So everybody's conclusions are wrong. And that it was found by some guy, excuse me, verifying the results of this one study. And he come to find out that there was something wrong with the calculation. So he looked into it, and lo and behold, and this is just recently, and the studies, I think, go back a couple of years. So formulas and functions, let's talk about that. Formulas. Have you ever had a job interview and they ask you stupid questions like, so a train leaves New York going 50 miles an hour and it's headed west, and another train in Los Angeles is headed east doing 100 miles an hour. With that information and how far apart they are, when do they meet? And you're like, can you write the formula and determine, given this speed, both trains coming at each other, where will they meet? And when will they meet? You should be able to figure that one out. Even sketch it out. Quadratic problem, algebra. I was interviewed by one of my mentors, and he asked me this question. I don't even know why he asked me a question, because it was a technical manager job. And he said, okay, and, well, it's because he's a programmer. His name was Ed, cool guy. He said if a rope is 100 feet long, 100 feet long, and two poles are 100 feet tall, and you connect the rope to both poles, pole 1, 100 feet, pole 2, 100 feet, and rope 100 feet, how far apart must the poles be in order for the rope to be connected to both? And I was like, And he knew it was a puzzle because it had been asked of him when he interviewed at Microsoft. So basically the answer is the poles have to be side by side. The rope is 100 feet long, the poles are 100 feet long each. The poles have to be side by side. One end of the rope connects to the top, the other end of the rope connects at the bottom, and there's the solution. Other problems. I mean, I just went through some interviews for a technical management position, and the previous technical manager that they had in the position didn't work out. So I was sort of like round 2, hopefully round 3. And they asked me all these soft skills, and of course I was probably too transparent or too complex for them to get a bearing on me, which is okay. Hopefully whoever they pick for this one opportunity, if they work out, great. If they don't, hey, I'm still available, Jill. Good organization, I love it. I gotta give up on them for a little while because they gave up on me. That's okay. Did they ask me any formula questions? No, not really. Functional questions, IT questions? Not really. But I can tell you one thing, every technical component in their organization, I'm fully experienced with, fully aware of, mature, wise, holistic, macro, micro, you name it, financial, even the people and the teams. It'll be fun. I don't know. There's some other opportunities that are now in front of me. I continue to do what I do here at Mountain Computers. I love my subjects, Mr. Rogers type of fraud, computer fraud, Fortran 77 formulas and functions. Carry that into any place you go. Professional development, cross-training, sharing, it's all the same. I mean, I just watched some YouTube stuff this morning, and I think mainstream media is actually starting to wise up against each other to be journalists and not partisan manipulators of the news and propaganda. Tell the truth. Ask a hard question, expect a hard answer. Be honest, be faithful. Be faithful to your work, your craft. Be honest with your team. My wife, it's really funny when you work hard and you try and do a good job. Like I just finished those 3 graphic systems that I mentioned in my previous video a couple days ago. Those systems were amazingly complicated. But I cleaned them up and made them really nice. Mostly, one system was an overheating problem, another one was something else. I can't remember what the other one was. It's too much. But there were 3 gaming rigs, and I usually don't do gaming rigs. But I did. It was fun. I did some other laptops and stuff like that. One of the things when it comes down to computers is for fraud prevention, is reset the firewall. All sorts of crazy things come in through your firewall. All sorts of things come into your browser extensions. Reset, in Chrome, reset your Chrome at the bottom. Just go to Options, Advanced, go to the bottom, and say Clean Up and Reset to defaults. If you're syncing with another computer, those extensions will come back when you log back in or resync. If it's Firefox, click on the menu bar at the top. If you don't see it, right click in the gray area in the title bar and turn on the menu bar, bookmark bar, go to Tools Troubleshooting or Help Troubleshooting and refresh Firefox. Let Firefox refresh. It'll update, it'll clean up everything. It's a good thing. Avoid computer fraud at all costs. Just finished my taxes again. Business taxes 30 days ago. Personal taxes day before yesterday, the 15th, day after Columbus Day. There were some fraudulent questions like, do you want to provide your ID to verify the authenticity of your taxes? Even though I provided that information and filed, but in printing my taxes, it didn't show up. That was strange. Even though I provided it, it didn't show up. So Did Tax Cut, which used to be, which is now H&R Block, did they transmit that information? Because I didn't file electronically. So whatever. I don't know. Be on your toes. Use your instincts. Enjoy your computers. You know, the Go Green PC tune-up is designed to improve performance and stability. But at the same time, tasks. It cleans out your tasks. Fraudulent tasks. Yeah. Well, anyhow, I've rambled enough today. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we'll go ahead and just end this. This is Andy from Mountain Computers, the Go Green PC Tune-Up Guy. Like, subscribe, and share. Today's letters was F. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Tomorrow's Friday. Stay warm. Stay out of trouble. Love your kids. Love your family. Love your wife. And that's it. Have a great day. You take care, and